right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast where we talk about everything going on in sports. And Brother Bill is dancing to Janet Jackson songs right now. So in his place, we have wonderful guest, Sister Leslie, who we are going to come to directly with the very first question. That question is, what, and I'm going to be totally biased in the way I even asked this, but like, what in the world is the Women's USA basketball team doing by leaving off the person that is driving traffic to women's basketball as a whole? Please.
She's not the only player driving the WNBA. I want that to be stated first.
What?
You know, I know everybody is Caitlyn Clark, but if you guys, I've been thinking about this, and this is a sore subject for me. She really, if she was good with Iowa, maybe freshman, sophomore year, who talked about her? I mean, we didn't, she really didn't come on the scene until her junior year against LSU, and Angel Reese was in her face doing this, and they had the trash talking. Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese, or Angel Reese actually, got the whole animosity and rivalry started. And so, of course, you're going to pay attention to her stats and her stepping back, but the media, in my opinion, wasn't talking about her. I didn't hear anything about her until that year. And then, of course, this year when she played in the finals and lost again, she had a good performance or whatnot. So and the media is Caitlyn Clark, Caitlyn Clark. If you ask me, it's Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark that is driving the WNBA. Second thing, she didn't deserve to be a rookie going into the Olympics, on the Olympics team. She's not tough enough. She can't even take a hard foul right now in just a regular WNBA, if you ask me. So I don't think she deserved to go. She's a rookie and she's not tough enough. And I just think that she's overrated right now. Yes, but she doesn't even have the best stats. That's a whole nother question. But anyway, I'm okay with the decision to leave her off. And I amen whoever made the decision.
Okay. Brother James, thoughts on the women's basketball team?
Man, I got to come after that one. So I agree 100% with Leslie. It was a lot of hype. Her junior senior year. I watched her in some of her games in the WNBA and wasn't impressed at all. She looked more like a fish almost out of water. In several games. I mean, can she hit the three? Yeah, she can still hit the three, but she was just, it looked like she didn't belong. And I forgot the girl's name from LSU, but she looked like she belongs there. And she has some of the numbers. I mean, she's a rookie too, but she has some of the skill set and the numbers to show that, hey, it was not a fluke with me. This is who I am. I'm gonna have stability in this league.
Yep.
All right, Deacon Hill, thoughts?
First of all, I just want to give a tribute to the logo, Jerry West. That's why I have my hat on backwards. So he passed away today at the age of, I believe, 86 years old. So that's why I have my hat on backwards today. But again, for Caitlyn Clark, I think they made the right decision, but I think it was. I could see why people would think that she should be on there, because she is a draw. I mean, she's drawing 17,000 fans to games now that they never were drawing before. She's very popular, but I heard a couple of other women saying that the Olympics is a different animal. They don't need that popularity it's a world sport, so they don't need that draw that the United States is trying to use her for. And I think they made the right decision because for the WNBA in the long run, because if she goes on that big platform and falls flat on her face, all this hype can go away. So I think they should build her slowly. I think she's probably gonna be a superstar in this league, but she has time to develop. They don't have to rush her onto the big stage right now, because like Sister Leslie was saying, the game is way more physical, and the international game is even more physical than that. So if she gets out there and falls flat on her face, they might lose their golden cow for what they got planning on building their league up for the next 5-10 years. They might lose it all in one Olympic, you know. So I think they made the right decision. Just bring her along slow. So I don't have a problem with them leaving her off the team.
Yeah, I think so. I think with part of it is the fact that there are, I mean, even in the men's team, there are business decisions. There are people that are not on the men's Olympic team that stats wise and everything else should be on the men's team, but it's people that draw. It's people that are going to get the sponsors happy because the sponsors are paying the teams to represent them and be high profile. And I think from a skills point, a rookie being on the Olympic team doesn't really make sense for men or women, period. Diana Taurasi doesn't make any sense to be on the women's team, but it's like they're like, I don't want to say grandfathering her in because she's towards the end of her career, but they're kind of grandfathering her in. I mean, she has kind of similar stats to Caitlyn Clark, but from a business standpoint, it's a horrific idea. Like the women have won like 9 golds in a row or 7 golds in a row or something like that. I had no idea that was the case because I've never watched the women's basketball during the Olympics. And you have this, whether it's deserved or not, skills wise, you have this, the eyeballs, the eyeballs of the United States are on women's basketball at this point. And not to capitalize on that is like, because the women are going to win anyways. I mean, be realistic. I mean, you could probably take a half the team and put you know, other women on there, and they're probably still going to go roll. They crush internationally. I mean, the women's soccer team got all this focus for them being real strong for 4 to 6 years, whatever. The women's basketball team just murders and doesn't get the kind of attention that you think you should get when you're always going and always winning gold. I see it for basketball skills wise, totally agree. Business wise, I think it's just a bad decision because I think there's going to be I think there'll be a lot less eyeballs on their games than there would be if she was in it, whether she's playing or not. I mean, whether she's even on the bench.
Well, I mean, just to say, you know, as early as this morning, you know, this subject has been really on first take in some of the major, you know, sports platforms for several days. Like they said this morning, the women, they're not going to even be on the main screen. So whether Caitlyn, say they use it for marketing or for business or whatever, first of all, people are not, they're going to watch the women or they're not because of the network that's going to be broadcasting the games. So it's Caitlyn being on the team is not going to make any real difference one way or the other. I mean, and the Olympics, they're publicized already because they're the Olympics. They don't need Caitlyn Clark to be their marketing cash cow. They just don't. So that's, you know, that's just a myth. And then the other thing is even if they put her on the team, there's a chance she wouldn't even get to play. So who's gonna, you know, sit there and oh, here she's gonna come in. That's just too far-fetched. And also, like the commissioner, whoever from the Olympics, you know, made the point, you know, we're not here for marketing reasons. We're here to put together a team that's going to bring home the gold. They're not, you know, after the cash cow and the marketing and all these things. And so it was the right decision. And going, you know, I want to touch on just something you said a while ago. Deacon Greg said, you know, selling out crowds or whatever, 17,000. But I watched Angel Reese, that's the LSU. I watched well before the finals, the NCAA finals. She too was selling out crowds, but nobody talked about it. I mean, I watched a couple of games where they said that it was a sold out crowd. And they weren't playing Iowa, they were playing other teams. But no one talked about that. No one talked about how this game was sold out for LSU. So again, I just think that, you know, media, they have a little cash cow, if you will. and they're going to ride it. But again, I don't think it's just Caitlyn, like Deacon Greg or Brother James said. Angel Reese, she belongs in the WNBA. She's holding her own. Her stats are better than Caitlyn Clark's right now. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right. Well, sticking with basketball and sticking with this horrific final so far, Brother James, thoughts on, like, are we? I mean, everybody picked Dallas except for Deacon Hill, and I don't know if you guys noticed I got a Boston hat on, so I'm telling Deacon Hill to scoot over a little bit. I may be joining him. This game doesn't look good at all. I was so I just tell me what you see, especially because we were on the
Okay,
same
of
page.
course, I'm at work, so I
Don't swear.
I don't know the score as of right now.
It's not good.
It's not good. Like I said before, I my whole deal of going against Boston was strictly personal. Because they have what it takes. I was just hoping that Tatum and them choked, and it don't look like they choking. I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it, but it looks like they're gonna win.
But the thing is, and the thing is too, like Tatum's not even playing that great, but they're such a well constructed team. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah, I mean they have the skill set and they have the coaching. I mean, the game I did see the other day when Dallas was kind of making a run on them, and the coach called timeout, and Boston came back out and looked like a whole different team, defensively. So, I mean, he's doing his job, and he's working with the talent that he has, which he has championship talent. So it's not that hard to work with that, but he's doing it. Kyrie and Luka, I think they're frustrated. A lot of it's coming from frustration, and they just, like the other night, they were just missing shots, simple shots. Just not playing. They playing their 2-man game, where they're doing lobs. They was all out of their game. They were trying to play Boston's game, and they're not going to beat Boston by playing Boston game. They got to play the Mavericks game. But I think it's maybe just a little bit too late for it. So I hate to say it, Deacon Greg was probably right. Almost 98% right that Boston's going to win it. And I'm mad about it because now they got one more than the Lakers. That's all I'm going to say about that. Don't leave me alone.
All right, Deacon Hill, it's looking good. Tell me, they have to be even doing better than you thought they were going to do, right?
Yeah, because I did say it would go. I thought it would probably go 6 games, and that was stretching it. I thought that Boston would be able to beat them. But Boston is a well-rounded team that's been there, all the experience, and then they have, like when we look at Dallas, you're looking at Luka and you're looking at Kyrie. Those guys have to play superstar game every night. They got to be on it, and I mean playing superstar level. Boston don't have to do that. Tatum hadn't even played a good game yet. Jaylen Brown, he could be, he's just playing like a star level. He's not a superstar. The one who's really is impressing me is Holiday. He is very impressive. I mean, his defense and offense. Then you got Derek White, and then Kozingis. He came in and gave him that initial boost, but now he's out. But they don't need all of that. They're just a well-rounded team that is due. They've been on that stage. How many times have they been in this position? It's time for them to win. So that's it wasn't.
Lakers.
All right, Sister Leslie. So we don't know who you thought was going to win going into this series, but so one, who did you think was going to win, and then two, what do you? I mean, we know what you're seeing, but tell us.
I figured Boston would win. Now, for the same reasons that Brother James don't want him to win, I don't want him to have that extra ring over the Lakers because I'm a Laker fan. Listen, it's all about the gold and purple.
Ugh.
But I already knew that Boston was going to win. They've been to the championship, to the finals like 6 or 8 times. And they're like they have 5 solid players and some bench. Dallas only has Luka and Irving. If those two are off, they're not going to win because the other supporting cast are not that strong. So I figured that the Celtics would win this one. It's their time.
So just the idea of having a really, really strong team and then being very close multiple times led you to believe that they're gonna just get over the hump.
Well, I didn't even expect Dallas to make it this far. I thought that the Dallas Mavericks were going to lose to the Timberwolves. So I didn't even think that they would make it this far with just those two. And so I knew they wouldn't win because they only have two really good players.
Yeah. So
Joe, I'm trying to set up your Niners. What
Oh,
you're saying
man,
about
I was on it.
what you talking about? Oh, they've been there enough. This and that. No, they
That's exactly where I was going.
either they're not going to
Next
do
year.
it.
Next year.
No, they
Gone.
still going to be Moses.
Oh, it's
Yep.
happening.
Wandering.
It's happening. All right. So sticking with basketball. And it kind of fits with the Lakers. So what I heard today was that JJ Redick could not get the supporting cast that the Lakers wanted him to have in order for him to be the head coach. Somebody with no experience. So they were interviewing all these dudes that people thought they were interviewing for head coaching jobs, but they were actually interviewing for assistant coaching jobs, and they didn't want that. So then they switched up and they're like, hey, who's really good? UConn's great. Let's go get him. And then that didn't work. So this is not a Lakers question. This is kind of just overall because you have very strong college coaches that will not go pro. And I do think, especially, I think that, man, the WNBA could really use some of these coaches that are in college that are just crushing it, coming to the NBA and just building up just everything as much as they can. But is a college coaching job for basketball better than a pro coaching job? In your opinion, Deacon Hill, I'll start with you.
Well, it depends on the college that you're at. This stability is there for college. Like, you get to some of these UConn coaches and stuff like that. They're not going anywhere. They're set for life. You can get a contract in the NBA, and you just look at the Lakers, and if you don't perform, you're out of here. You're gone. I don't care what your contract is. You get some money, but you're down the road. These college coaches that are in these great programs, why would they want to leave? They could be there forever, and call their shots and do what they want to do, and plus their legacy is intact. You get in the NBA and you mess up, and even though it probably won't even be your fault, but your legacy is down the drain because they're going to send you shipping, packing. So yeah, I would, if I'm a big time college coach at a big time program, I think twice before I'd take an NBA job.
Yeah, Sister Leslie, what do you think?
He nailed it. I totally agree. When they went out, first of all, I'm like, the UConn coach, words on the street, he's going for three-peat. So I didn't think he would take it. I wouldn't have. I mean, they're going to throw all these millions, but like Deacon Greg just said, you lose, LeBron get mad at you because you didn't, call a timeout when he thought that you should have called a timeout. And you're out of there within a year. They won't even give you time to unpack.
Even if you win,
right.
Even if you win the in-season tournament, you're gone.
Right. So
that was sarcastic. Don't listen to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't listen. But no, I agree with Deacon Greg and NCAA. I heard some commentators say that college basketball is not very popular until March Madness. Well, that might be so, but nowadays, I think I read somewhere that the college players are now going to be paid. So I think that that's going to draw more attention to NCAA and these athletes because now they're going to be paid. And so people are going to, well, let me see why he's getting that amount of money. So I think that eyes are now going, I mean, they have been, but now that the players are going to be paid or compensated, I think that that's going to boost the ratings. But college NCAA has always been, pretty solid. I would not leave, especially if I have an opportunity to go for a three-peat and make history, I wouldn't go either.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with the payment thing, like, because you're gonna have rivalries now. You're not
Yep.
going to have people that duck out after their freshman year because they can go make, $2 million pro or $2 million overseas. They can make $2 million in college, and then you have
Right.
that carry. I mean, that the whole Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese thing would not have been as big as it was if it wasn't 2 years in a row.
Right.
Brother James, thoughts on a better job, NCAA job or a pro job?
Yeah, see, that really depicts on the person. I mean, because some people that's their dream. I want to coach in the NBA. But stability wise, I mean, like Deacon Greg and Sister Leslie said, the college is where it's at. Especially like if you're in the big, like the old guy Hurley from UConn. I mean, hey, you didn't build something. You showing it loyalty. So you watching that puppy grow. You got a chance to do a three-peat. So, yes, he would. I wouldn't leave either. But then you think about it, I don't know what grades his players are in. He could have a lot of freshmen and sophomores that's coming up. So he may be looking at long term as far as the players that he's got, just building a big old legacy, trying to be, the next, dig whatever his name is,
Like a Krzyzewski kind of a guy?
Viola. I forgot his name. Well, but so I I would say that college is where it's at as
Yeah.
far as stability. So
Well, I mean, even if he doesn't have freshmen, I mean, he could be somebody like Don Staley had an entirely new team and
Yep.
still absolutely. I mean, I think when you're able to connect and pull the right players in or not pull the right players in and be able to coach them up and stuff like to what she did to me is insane. Just a completely different roster and just plowed through the tournament. I thought that was wild. Sister Leslie, you're about to say something?
Well, Dawn Staley, there's a whole bunch to her. But as you were talking about NCAA versus NBA, look at the Kansas coach. He quit after what he'd been there like a gazillion years, and he went to another college team. Why didn't he hold out? And I mean, he barely let the season in after they didn't make the Final Four or whatnot. He was interviewed for another job with the college team, and he took that job. So it's like, well, he could have waited and said, maybe somebody from the NBA will pick me up, because he's been at Kansas, and Kansas always makes it to the Sweet 16 final, and sometimes to the Final Four, but they just haven't won it in some years. And so he could have, in my opinion, he could have gone, held out and applied for some NBA jobs, but he didn't. He took another college job almost immediately after resigning from Kansas.
Yeah, if I were a coach and I see coaches winning championships and then getting fired like 2 years later, that's crazy to me. Because you don't really have. I mean, you kind of have that in football a little bit, but you'll get a nice like 6-7 year runway to try to make something happen. NBA, you win, like the Bucks win 2 years later. No, I mean I mean, are the Heat the only team with like a long tenured coach? I mean, Heat and the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, it's like we gotta mix it up. I could see just the volatility of just not even the money, but the having to like uproot your family every 3 years because, like you said, like you didn't call a timeout at the right time or whatever, and you get the star player mad at you, and you gotta move because the players have so much power in the NBA. I agree. I think the NCAA would be a much better job for stability, especially if you're just dialed in and you can be at one school and just crush it. Boston's killing them. So last topic of the night. So a few weeks ago, Major League Baseball announced that what they were going to do is they were going to open up the record books and they were going to take all the stats from the Negro leagues and they're going to incorporate them into, so it's all stats for everything. So now you're seeing where Barry Bonds used to be number one, Babe Ruth was number 3 or whatever. So you're seeing pitchers and all these players come in. I don't know if it got the attention it should have, because I feel like you're opening up people that weren't paying attention to anybody except for like the Babe Ruths and the Mickey Mantles and the Joe DiMaggios. You're opening it up to people that maybe didn't have the, didn't Google and research and stuff. So, and they didn't have it coming to them. Brother James, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on combining the stats and making them stats for it's just baseball overall now? No, it doesn't matter which league.
I think that was a great move. I think it was something that should have been done a long time ago. But better late than never. And it just put facts where they're supposed to be. Babe Ruth was a great hitter, but it was somebody else in the Negro League that was better. And now when that question comes up, people have to find, they want to find out the real answer, and they say, well, who is this guy? And that's going to make them have to dig in to find out who that guy is. And then when you dig in and find out who that guy is, it's going to make you find out the other guys that was on the team and the other different things. So then the true history of baseball is going to come to surface instead of just it being because being America's game, meaning it was for the white people and this and that. So I think it's great. I think it's going to do a lot of good.
Sister Leslie.
I agree. I think it should have happened a long, long time ago. And, I think it's a win for the families of those players, now that they're gone, but their loved ones will now be remembered, or the hard work that they put in will now be in mainstream and in history books and so on, or at least be viewed and, put in history books. It would be really good if, I don't know too much about it, but if any of them were Hall of Fame worthy, that would be in my opinion, the icing on the cake to make sure that their stats reflected a Hall of Fame position. And so I think it's well overdue, and I'm happy for those families and for the Negro League.
I didn't even the Hall of Fame thing. I didn't even think about that. That's 100% true. Yeah, because now you just open up a whole different group of players to that's really cool. I didn't think about that.
I thought about that. Just think of those that their stats weren't reviewed, and so they never made it into the Hall of Fame. So now if they're reviewed and they meet the criteria, whatever, the Hall of Fame, what a win that would be for that family to see their loved one in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Deacon Hill.
Yeah, I totally agree with Brother James and Sister Leslie. I mean, like Josh Gibson, he's the baseball home run king. He was. They always called him the Black Babe Ruth back in the day, but actually his stats were even better. And then you had Satchel Paige. I mean, he played to he pitched when he was 50-something years old, and I think he might be in the Hall of Fame. I think both of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige are in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, just the notoriety and it's well overdue, long overdue. So I'm glad baseball made that decision. I don't know how they came to that, what light turned on to make them make that decision now, but better like Brother James said, better late than never. So I'm really happy and continue to do the research and give more people more credit.
Yeah, and then the more you see these stats, you're like, guys, we couldn't have played each other to see, you know what I mean? You see these amazing players on both sides, but they didn't play each other. So you have like Babe Ruth stats, like these are great stats, but they're not. Is he playing the best? Obviously not all the best. And then you look on the Negro, are they playing the best? Obviously not all the best. You're like, God, you guys, come on.
Well, it was the same way in basketball. They had to do the same thing in basketball before they would let the African Americans actually play, and then the same thing in football when you had the with Green Bay with their backfield with the Whitey Hurst, or I mean whatever the name, you get all them running backs that when you let them brothers start running the ball, you say, oh, okay, that's a whole different scenario there. So
yeah,
Josh Gibson is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But again, and then but just elevating, the position and stuff and the stats, and you can see these. I mean, they're ridiculous numbers, and to look at those numbers, you're like, geez, what did we miss by not like documenting this and following this sooner? But that is it. It's looking like next week is going to be our last week of the show until we break for a football season because Dallas is not doing anything. And if they're not doing a game 3 at home, you are pretty much dead. So it's not looking good for Lakers fans or Dallas fans because you guys are now one behind. And I will admit, as the only Warriors fan on this panel right now, I will admit, not looking great for the Lakers moving forward. So I'm sure you guys have much more positive.
The Lakers will be all right. Don't worry about the Lakers,
bro. That logo on your hat, you need to get him back, man. Because that dude could
he can't
build
come back.
teams.
We can't get him back.
We can't get him back. He didn't win. He didn't went to heaven.
Amen. He's not coming back.
All right, guys. I
Lakers
will.
will be fine.
We will see you guys next week, Sister Leslie. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you guys. It's always
Thank
good
you.
company.
Thank you, Leslie.
All right, guys. See
Thank
you
you,
all
guys.
next week.